Good day, YouTube friends. It's Anna in another video, and I am filming on Saturday morning, still quite early. So my voice is a morning voice. Excuse me if it sounds a bit like I smoke too much. Welcome to this video that will be about what I, as an INFJ, think about the INFP and what my experiences are with the INFP type. So, this idea of making videos about what I think about other types is not my idea. The idea came from another girl who is an ENTP, and she made videos like that on Facebook in a group, and I really liked that idea, so I stole it from her, and I am making the INFJ versions because, of course, I have very different opinions and experiences with other types than her, because I am another type myself. So I don't know what is the purpose of this, except for just sharing my experiences, just having fun. Yeah, and I don't know, these are just my experiences, and you are also free to share your experiences, what the dynamic between these types is like in the comments. I'm always happy to read what you have to say below. This is take 2, basically, because I already made a video where I was talking about 4 types at once. But I wasn't happy with it because I felt like when I did 4 types at once, I did not take enough time to give enough depth to every type, and I realized that actually there's more to say about just one type. That I would rather make 4 a bit shorter videos than one really long one that didn't go deep enough. So here's take 2. My purpose in these videos is not to make everybody of every type feel equally good about themselves. I get along with some types better than with other types, and that will be reflected in what I have to say about the types. So yeah, I will share both my positive and negative experiences and thoughts about the types. And yeah, the negative experience, they can also sometimes be in the form of criticism. So if you are very sensitive to criticism and you are here on the internet to just hear nice, happy things that will make you feel good, then maybe click away. And otherwise, be warned, if you are on board for perhaps next to like some happy talk, also some tough love, then stick around for this video. Okay, so let's start talking about INFPs. The INFP is one of my favorite types, and the first, perhaps a bit more shallow thing that comes to my mind about INFPs is that I personally find them the most attractive out of all of the types, in a way. And they definitely are the cutest as well. And so their attraction is also in a cute way. I would never describe an INFP as hot, really, because that doesn't fit the kind of like vibe that they have. When I think of the word hot, I would think more of like an ESTP or something. Because INFPs, they're just cute. So that's what makes them attractive, their cuteness. But it's also, I notice INFPs have a kind of spark in their eyes, a really lively spark, like there's a star shining in their eyes. It's very particular, and I really can appreciate that. It's just, yeah, if somebody looks so full of life and feeling, it's just like beautiful and almost a bit inspiring. In general, INFPs, they are really good at inspiring me. There is a really interesting dynamic that feels synergistic. So I really appreciate to have these people around me, and yeah, I definitely have some friends of this type, and other people that I happily spend time with. With the INFPs that I know, I felt like we had very similar interests and values. So conversation would always flow very easily. And another thing is that there is a mutual feeling of trust and understanding that is really unique for me to experience, because I don't trust people that easily. I don't open up to people that easily. But with the INFP, I have noticed that I am really able to feel safe enough to be myself and share anything with them. And I would say that feeling is mutual, because the INFP also feels very safe to confide themselves in me. Like, I've noticed they are okay with sharing their more vulnerable side to me as well, which is pretty cool, because INFPs don't do that with everybody, because they care quite a lot about how they come off to people. So they with a lot of people, they are scared of coming off badly, and that's why they would close themselves off and not share their vulnerable stuff. But with me, they seem to feel safe enough to do that. Yeah. And, the kind of conversations I have with INFPs, they go really deep. I think stuff like what I talk about in my videos, understanding society, also talking about our personal challenges, and yeah, there's always a lot of interesting ideas coming into creation in our conversations. For example, one friend I made in Groningen, we met each other because I posted on Facebook about my dream to live in a specific setting, kind of like a community house situation, that I was looking for a connection, etc. And that's how she found me. And we spent a lot of time dreaming about what our ideal living situation would be like. And we could really find the inspiration together to create this image. And we also did things to put that into action, even though it never actually completely worked out. But that's like beside the point. of this video. Like one of the things with this same friend, one of the things we were talking about that felt really, really nice was that she, just like me, was experiencing social anxiety. And even though the way in which that manifested was different, because we are different types after all, I really felt understood and recognition that she was also going through a similar experience of social anxiety, and just being able to share what we were feeling in that moment, whatever that was, that felt really good. And I think also for her. So INFJs, they have a lot of empathy. And I think INFPs, they really do well on that, because that's how they feel safe enough to share their things, because the INFJ is so receptive in an empathic way towards whatever they are sharing about themselves. And that's not only the case with INFPs. I think INFJs, they tend to have a lot of people confide to them their more vulnerable stuff, because we are so empathic and usually pretty good listeners, especially if we feel like the other person needs us. So what I am saying about this feeling of trust, deep trust and understanding that I've had with INFPs, that's mostly the case with the women, because with the men, honestly, there usually is some kind of sexual tension. And that sexual tension would kind of disturb that calm, peaceful feeling of trust and understanding. So what is a weird thing about the dynamic between INFJs and INFPs in my experience is that I feel like they tend to put me on a pedestal. And that's never something that they actually have told me or something. But I've noticed that I feel a specific way around them. And I have thought quite a bit about what that feeling was and what it was caused by around them. And I realized it was because they kind of put me on a pedestal. It seems to me that they look at me and they think I have it all figured out in life. And I think that has to do with that, like I said, we really share the same values about life, about the world. And INFPs, they tend to be really dreamy and stay a lot in their head, staying a lot in their bed, basically also. Because they have really good ideas about how to make the world better, all the things that they could do to make things better, but they tend to stay inactive in that because they are scared to leave their comfort zones. And so the INFJ has a lot of different ideas about what would make the world better. And also, INFJs can get a lot of inspiration from these ideas from the INFP, because the INFP is very intellectual in the best, like maturest form. They can read a lot of books, take in a lot of information, and combine all of this input and get a really, really broad understanding of how stuff works, and they can get their own ideas from that, their own conclusions. And when they share these conclusions with INFJs, that's really cool. That's really inspiring to me. They can really give me interesting ideas about things. And so the INFJ recognizes themselves in those values of the INFP, and we are much more focused on actually putting those values into action. We are, at least when we are in a good shape, when we are mature enough, we will always look at how can I put that value into action? What can I do to actually make the world better? Because that is basically in a nutshell what the purpose of the INFJ is, which will probably be a video at some point. I know I have it on my list of video ideas, so stick around for that. We'll see that happen at some point, I think. So because they see me live their values. That creates that kind of dynamic, I think, of like, wow, you have it figured out. And obviously I don't feel like that at all, because as an INFJ, I don't have high self-worth naturally. That's also why I think it doesn't really do any harm, really, for me to have somebody that like praises me a bit in that way, because to me it just feels like encouragement, and it helps me to feel more safe to be myself around them, because they make me feel like I'm doing well. I tend to have the tendency to feel like everything I do is never good enough. So to have an INFP that is like, wow, you're really doing a good job, that's very encouraging to an INFJ like me. So I really appreciate to have their friendship. So the INFP friends that I do have, they do not live close to me, and so I don't see them very often. And I wouldn't say I have a best friend at this moment, but I'm always thinking that if I ever get one again, then they would be an INFP, because like that whole synergistic understanding and trust feeling and inspiration, that's just so amazing. And I think we could really benefit from that mutually, my hypothetical best friend and me. A thing that is difficult about INFPs for me is that they don't initiate contact with me, usually. They wait around for me to message them, and they wait for me to invite them to do things. So I think if I'm aware of that, it's not really a problem. I'm just so I very easily get the feeling like, oh, I'm not sure if they still want to spend time with me, because they're not looking for contact with me. So I just have to get over that and just message them. And to my experience, they have actually really reacted positively to my invitations and messages. Like they like to be invited by INFJs to do things, and they like to talk with INFJs, I think. So, but they're just not, it's just not their thing to initiate that contact, because they are afraid of being rejected in that situation, mostly. And they're just dreamy. They probably forget to write to the INFJ, which is also connected to the fact that they don't respond to messages very quickly sometimes. Like, they can really take a long time. And that's pretty hard for me as an INFJ. It is kind of hypocritical, because me too, I can spend a lot of time before I answer somebody. But I always do my best to explain to people beforehand how that works for me. Because like the reason why I don't answer quickly is because I really want to take the time to find the right moment where I can give my full attention to that person, also in message, because I don't like to have as my interactions with people. I really want to have quality time with them. So it can take a longer time before I find that right moment. But with INFPs, I think it's just how dreamy they are and how introverted they are, that sometimes they just need their space to be in their dream world. And I, as an INFJ, can sometimes become a bit scared that it's personal, that they take so much time, but I think that's probably not accurate. The difficult thing about INFPs is that they wouldn't so easily tell you if something was bothering them about you. They don't easily give criticism at all. So if an INFP would have problems with you, they would absolutely ghost you. They wouldn't tell you. So that's a very scary aspect of having a friendship with an INFP for an INFJ, because INFJs are already scared of people abandoning them and stuff like that. I think especially in the early stages of a friendship, that can become an issue. Because if we see some signals, we will easily interpret that as you don't want to be my friend anymore or something. What I noticed with INFPs that I know for a longer time, that I really have had a lot of experiences with and an established friendship, that's really not a concern at all. They're always just reacting very happily to my messages, and they are glad that I'm initiating with them. So I think basically INFPs, they have more flaws than what I am pointing out. But the interesting thing is that INFJs are not really bothered by a lot of the flaws that INFPs have. And I think it's also the other way around, that INFPs are not so bothered by some of the flaws that INFJs have. So it's really a friendship that can make you feel good. It's not as much challenging. To me, being friends with an INFP is really about understanding and encouragement and inspiration. I think that sums it up basically. And then just with a little tiny bit of insecurity because they don't reply to your messages. So I think that's what I want to say about the INFP. As an INFJ, feel free to leave a comment about what you think about this video, or what you think about INFPs, what you think about INFJs, etc. Whatever you want to share, I'm happy to read it, and I will basically almost always react to your messages. Give this video a like if you liked it, and consider subscribing to this channel if you want to see more like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye!